still don't know, haven't checked any of the VODs, if the first 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 60 gets eaten somehow when restreaming using this app, but whatever. I just cannot be bothered. Tried a long time ago, to care, and it took me a while to realize it, but success on social media has absolutely nothing to do with actually trying, doing things right, etc. Even all the people who play the algorithm game, do the proper thumbnails, have all these hacky, clickbaity titles and stuff like that. None of that really matters if you don't have a platform already. If you have a relatively big channel, i.e. you are part of the algorithm, I suppose it does make sense to make a clickbaity thing, to make your video more appealing to all the random normies your video will be recommended to, right? But that's only true for really big channels. Smaller channels whose videos are not being recommended really doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything, because your video is not on the algorithm anyway. So doing things right literally has nothing to do with success, or success on social media rather, has nothing to do with doing things correctly. None of the big people, the biggest content creators that we know right now, had started by titling things properly and doing proper thumbnails. No, all of them started with quality. All of them build their platforms with quality of their content, not really by hacking the algorithm, appealing to the brain dead masses. No, none of them build their platforms by doing that. So it's very funny how everyone is trying to emulate success of big content creators these days, but kind of ignoring one biggest ingredient. It's the fact that their content was actually worth a damn. Yeah, but the truth is that the continuing success of big content creators had nothing to do with quality, of course, because over time pretty much all of them turned to shit, but it had to do with the fact that they were basically kind of access content creators, as I call them. People with direct line to YouTube, people with direct line to Twitch and whatnot. You're not one of those people. You're trying to emulate their success. And I said that many, many years ago. This whole stupid mentality of, Moo, come here, come on. No. No, go around. He's smart enough to understand that. Yeah, okay. This whole stupid mentality of do what I do and you will have what I have is so stupid. It's something that we've been raised with, actually. My generation was pretty much all of us were raised with this whole thing of find somebody you adore, right? Find somebody you respect and just emulate their path in life. So many pretend fucking businessman, pretend guru, or we're kind of teaching that shit way before fucking Andrew Tate's and Joko the Joko, whatever the fuck that guy's name is. All of those fucking clowns are basically just repeating what's been said about, what's been told to us, to millennials, since fucking early 90s, if not late 80s. It's because we were raised by Gen Xers and Boomers who had everything given to them. I mean, Gen Xers had quite a well, less things given to them, quite an amount less, quite a degree less. But you know, still, Gen Xers had actually quite a few aces in their sleeves that Boomers didn't have, which allowed a lot of them to succeed in life where millennials were just never given the opportunity to. Like, for example, if in the early 90s you knew anything at all about computers, you knew how to install RAM, right? And you knew how to create a network between two computers. All of a sudden, you're a fucking guru, right? Because all of those businesses that boomers were having, obviously, boomers were owning all the businesses, you know, in late 80s, early 90s, and everything needed to be transitioned to, like, everything was being computerized, right? As we were calling it those days. And if you knew anything about the computers, because boomers knew nothing about the computers, they knew nothing. You know, installing Windows was like a fucking, like, brain operation, you know, for them, like brain surgery. I mean, it was that intimidating to them. And a lot of boomers to this day, like my grandma has it, she is literally afraid of computers. She has this feeling somehow, it's almost like PTSD of a kind. And maybe it is, actually, I don't know. But a lot of boomers have this PTSD of, they just feel that they literally look at the computer, they look at the keyboard, and they have no idea what they're looking at, and they're afraid that if they touch something, like, basically nukes are gonna launch. You know? And if you were Gen X, you know, during that time, obviously you knew at least a few things about computers. Potentially you even knew how to install RAM, you know. Potentially you even knew how to apply thermal paste before like reinstalling a cooler on the CPU. You know, maybe you even knew how to, because that was like actual, you know, like reconstruction, like surgery. It was like reconnecting like nerves together. It was like reattaching a limb. Maybe you knew how to connect all the various wires coming out of a PSU to all the, you know, slots, all the motherboard, on the motherboard. Like, yeah, dude, you were basically a brain surgeon if you knew things like that. And all the boomers were kind of like, oh, fucking hell, dude, we need a computer guy, you know. And those people were called all kinds of different things, like system engineer or network engineer. No, network engineer is still something that exists, but sysadmin, that's it. System administrator. Like, that was the fucking job to have, dude. Well, come on. No. Well, okay. Well, you can do that if you want. But I see that you were trying to start to eat something, and that's never gonna fly with me. Sorry. No. Enough of poop eating. So if you knew at least a few things like that, and you legitimately could, you know, go into the office of the boomer, doing whatever the fuck, you know, basically just like crunching numbers, you know, that was their business. And be like, yo, dude, I know a few things about the computer. Come on, enough already. Read the room. Read the forest. And yeah, you could just, with a handshake, get a job like that. In fact, you'd probably get multiple jobs like that. You'd be like a part-time computer guy for like half a dozen of businesses. I had so many friends who were just like 5, 4, 3 even years older than me, who got their start in IT that way. Well, unfortunately, by the time I was of an employable age, reinstalling Windows was not considered. Come on, man. Was not considered magic anymore. Whee. So why am I saying all that? Well, I'm saying that all those people, always fucking tell you, just do what I do and you're gonna have what I have. No, dude. The full saying would be, do what I do after being born where I was born, into the family that I was born into, in the same time, in the same place. And also have my genes, And then you're gonna have what I have. And then, if you do what I did, then you're gonna have what I have. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. But the general thing of like, do what I do? No, man. Oh, fucking hell, man. It is so funny. It is so funny because it literally never worked. Only people who were very, very lucky can say that. And the rest of us who understand that you fucking lucky people were nothing but lucky, we realize how absolute BS that is. I can make a song that is, for all intents and purposes, like quite literally, as a form of theft, but like distinguishable enough, So it's both an homage and also a theft. I can make a song in every respect as good as like Personal Jesus of Depeche Mode and upload it to like everywhere. And what do you think? How many people are gonna see it? I can tell you exactly right now how many people will see it. About maybe 10 people who actually keep an eye on my stuff. Basically my parents and like 2 of my friends. That's it. No, doing what I do doesn't mean literally like doing, like look how I did this thing, just do the same thing, and success will come to you. Actually, no, because there's so much more to that thing than just the actual product. There's timing, there's place, and of course, there's platform. Do you have a platform? I don't. Do you know what a platform is? A lot of people don't understand what a platform is. A lot of people think platform is like TikTok. No, dude, TikTok is not a platform. A successful TikTok account is a platform. Without one, no one's gonna see your shit, regardless of how good it is, or even, in a lot of cases, regardless of how well timed it is. So even if you time your things well, you're in the right place in the right time, then you might think, well, that's finally, I'm in the right place in the right time, I'm gonna do the right thing, and I'm gonna have everything I've ever wanted. Well, not necessarily, because again, in order to do the things right, to do the thing right, there's much more to it than actually just doing it in the right place, in the right time. Moo, like, enough. Come on. If there's tension, Moo, it means I need you to come back. He is such a piece of shit on this collar. Like, that's why I only walk him. Like, do you see what he's doing? Like, he is like purposely. I have no idea which one for me. Oh, you want me to go forward? How would I know if that you want me to go forward? He fucking knows, but he like literally doesn't give a fuck in this collar. Only the metal one. That's why I always walk him in the metal one. But today is really cold. I don't like to use that collar when it's really, really cold, because usually it takes a few minutes for us, to walk around. And that thing obviously gets really cold in cold weather. And I have no intention to be going through these woods right now, because it's a pain in the ass, especially with one hand. And Aini is just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm going where I'm going. You think Doing the right thing, at the right time. Fucking hell, I just cannot speak. It's really cold today. Fucking hell, man. You think that's all there is to it, but actually it never is, because you never know who actually was behind anything even remotely successful. It's the platform. Who's gonna give you the platform? I can do all the things that, I don't know, a successful video game developer did 5 years ago, and it just wouldn't work for me. Because that was 5 years ago, you fucko. And also, you don't have the platform. Those guys had the platform. They had a marketing budget. Oh, you made the greatest video game ever? Well, guess what? You had $0 for marketing. No one knows about your game. It's a failure. It'll literally die in obscurity. It will never get discovered. If it was released 20 years ago, it might be, discovered by like digital archaeologists, around today, maybe. It would have been discovered potentially. Some things are, but anything that comes out today without a substantial marketing budget, no, it's never gonna get discovered. It just disappears, dude, in the bloat, in the digital fucking oversaturation, of this bloat. What are you looking at? Is there a Sam Squatch in there? Well, if there is, move. You should have gone there to begin with. Navigating this fucking place is a goddamn nightmare. So yeah, like the whole thing of, people like legitimately, study what is popular on YouTube, study like how PewDiePie, makes his fucking thumbnails, what kind of thumbnail will work better. Dude, the only kind of fucking thumbnail that will work better, it's only contingent on on your platform. Meaning, if you know personally somebody in YouTube who can put you into the algorithm, your video is going to be shown to people. That's it. And people will click just about whatever. Honestly. Like, it is so funny to me how people put so much thought into this shit. Literally nothing. None of that matters. There is absolutely nothing I can do right now, for example, to make this stream more popular. Like, absolutely nothing. And that's basically what I was trying to say the whole time. It is so funny how so many people in this, second quarter of the 21st century completely fucking overthink. They're still looking, they're looking for the magic formula, of how to do things so that people actually watch you. Dude, when you upload something to fucking Instagram, literally, what is the next screen that you see after something has been uploaded and published? You see a splash screen asking you, how much money do you want to pay Facebook right now in order to boost that post? That's it. That's the formula. I just found it for you. Congratulations. You no longer have to worry about ever titling any of your shit. You don't have to worry about, anything, really. It's just that be ready, to spend about, say, $10 per day on a video that you want to have at least some level of reach, and it will. And that's it. So how many videos do you want to be viewed of yours? Is it one video a month? Is it 2 video months? Is it 3? Oh, well, that's about $1,000 a month. You know, if you wanna have 3 videos. You wanna have just one big video to really kind of like explode, and from this meme popularity, from the viral popularity, build a platform. Easy. Just have like, you know, 10K, 50K, 100K. Make one video, I don't know, calling people like libtards or something, you know. Just make some grift video like Andrew Tate does, right? Well, actually, Andrew Tate doesn't even do that. I learned recently that basically what Andrew Tate does, he offers a bounty, a monetary reward, essentially, to his subscribers, to his followers of his like pretend success platform, like whatever, his Discord app, essentially, that he has. That's like $50 a month, if I'm not mistaken. And he offers those people rewards for like posting videos of him, essentially, like owning libs and shit like that. And so he offers a reward of like, I don't know, say like, I don't know, $5,000. So if 100 losers who follow that loser, you know, end up investing at least $100 just in the gamble to win 1,000, you know, that's like 10K, you know, worth of views invested just in like Andrew Tate, like talking fucking Andrew Tate nonsense, you know. While to himself, it was only worth $1,000. Because all of those losers, you know, in the hopes to win $1,000, as if $1,000 is gonna, you know, gonna take you a step closer to the life that Tate is promising you. You know, yeah, if all of them, or at least some of them, right, if like 100 of them invest like $100 into making like a like viral Tate content, and then the most viral piece of content, you know, to the author goes the bounty. That's pretty interesting fucking business model, yeah, because Tate legitimately gets like tens of thousands worth of boosted views on social media, while he himself only invests like 1,000, you know, maybe 2 tops. So that's pretty interesting thing. But yeah, that's essentially how you do it, you know. If you want to make a video that's gonna reach 10,000 people, well, you're probably gonna need to invest at least $100, you know. That's all. That's the formula. Well, anyway, those were just like my kind of random thoughts on current state of algorithm and boosting yourself on social media. Why did I just get a battery? Bullshit. No idea. It's not supposed to. Okay. Oh, are my things, earbuds, again connected to the phone despite being in the case? They do that. That's Sony, you know, it just works. Have I ever told you that I had to restore these guys? Like, I had to fucking fix these things at one point. They just stopped working. Well, one of the earbuds just utterly stopped working. The battery just died. These like 4th generation earbuds by Sony are very popular for those fucking batteries just dying all the time. And it was the proper battery too. There was a rumor at one point that actually the reason those batteries were dying was because Sony updated the firmware, but it forgot that in the early revisions, the early whatever prints builds of these earbuds, they actually used a different battery because the one they intended to use was not like fully available on the scale they needed at the time. So they inserted different battery and they forget about it. And at one point they updated the firmware and well, basically, you know, incompatible amperage or voltage or whatever the fuck, and essentially they burned those batteries, those old ones, in the older revisions of these earbuds. Actually, no. My battery was the proper battery. After I took it out, it was the proper one. And I even actually swapped the battery in the second earbud as well, just to be sure. And yeah, no, both of them were fine. Aini, I cannot follow you there. I'm not sure if you understand that or not. Like, I cannot follow you there. Come on, come back. Yeah, you can maybe throw in the cloth collar periodically, but you cannot do like 2 in a row on the same day. This is the second time we're outside, of course, today. Because he just gets like, I don't give a fuck, this thing cannot kill me. It can still fucking choke you to death, dude. It still can. But he just doesn't react to it at all. Only the prong metal collar he actually does. Aini. I'm standing right here looking at you. Come on. And it is so annoying. Like, by the time he, like, once he comes back to you, he does it as if, okay, sure, man. Why couldn't you just, like, tell me right away? Like, easy. Look how easy I can do it. And willingly, too. To kind of just make you feel like an idiot. As if what I've been doing for the last, like, minute wasn't calling you. As if it was my mistake somehow. I was not communicating properly. He's just like a fucking master of gaslighting, dude. Just like I am. Ugh. Anyway, so fun times. Fun fucking times. So yeah, until I get, unless, you know, unless I actually get somewhat kind of like, I don't know, financially sound, out of something, you know, based on something at least, I'm absolutely not giving a fuck about any of this. Like, yeah, once I have, you know, like $10 to throw into a video or something, and again, it wouldn't be, you know, shit like this. Obviously, it would be one of those, like something closer to my like Instagram reels. If you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, check it out. It's actually some form of art, at least. So yeah, until I have something to invest into in this, I absolutely just don't give a fuck at all. It's all fucking bots anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. You know, if I make like a real piece of content with a flashy thumbnail and whatever else, the only people who are gonna watch it are just bots anyway. I'm gonna get like a bot subscriber out of it. Okay, great. I can get it also by literally posting nothing. I'm still gonna get bot comments, bot like chat messages, and bot subscribers. So there's literally no difference. Because the internet is dead. So, like, there's no point putting in effort. Because one way or the other, all you're getting is just like 2.5 bots per piece of content you upload. One way or the other. But the numbers look good, right? The numbers definitely look good. So many people are kind of like, ooh, you know, look at my numbers. I have 10,000 followers on Twitter. Dude, like 9,000 fucking 986 of your followers are bots. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I promise you, I've been on Twitter for 1,000,000 years. Yeah, that's how it fucking happens. All you have to do is just tweet occasionally and reply to big viral tweets. And the bots will see your account and they will all follow you. You just become kind of like a magnet to bots. You just like need to get out there, right? Get out there, post a few tweets, reply to a few tweets, and you're gonna start getting them left and right. You can be getting like fucking 300, fucking followers a day. Honestly, if you just tweet full time, if you're a full-time tweeter, and we do have people like that, unfortunately, you legitimately, you can get like hundreds of followers by just tweeting, and people think that's growth. Dude, they are all fucking bots. Every time I post a reply to someone's tweet, I get like 5 followers. And guess what? All of those 5 fucking followers are gone next week because they are bots and their accounts were deleted. I've been on Twitter for like 1,000,000 years, over 10 years. I've seen all of that. I am not making it up. Those people don't just unfollow me because they followed me on some instinct and then discovered that I was a douchebag and then they followed me. No, those were not real people in the first place, I promise you. And yeah, that's how it fucking works. If you tweet like 80 times a day, easily you're gonna get like at least like 100 and a half at least followers a day. It's almost guaranteed. And people think it's growth. Oh, look at me. Oh, look. Oh, wow, this channel has so many followers. I bet they are legit. No, dude, they're just a fucking tweets 50 times a day about how perfectly normal games that have a little bit of residual wokeness in them are like worst fucking thing ever. Like literally worst thing since Dustborn. Yeah, dude. You can do it, Moo. You can do it. Retard. Okay. It was a cute dance you did, though. It was cute. Yeah, like a new, I don't know, a new something, new Assassin's Creed comes out. Well, Assassin's Creed is a bad example, but like a new fucking Call of Duty comes out or something like that. And it's like, the worst thing ever, dude, yeah. Like last time you were fucking talking about Call of Duty was literally was when the previous one came out. So like, you literally give zero fucks about Call of Duty. All you give a fuck about is that the new one came out. And it's the woke thing ever, apparently. Despite it obviously being not that. All nuance goes out the window. Internet is the place where nuance comes to die. Goes to die. And then, yeah, I saw a few. I've noticed that a lot of grifters these days are really salty for, like, people who they identify as centrists, essentially no longer being with them in the Gamergate camp, because grifters basically destroyed that camp. Like, yeah, man. The reason people like myself have completely distanced themselves from grifters is because grifters, well, people who are grifters today, just a few years ago, were basically just Gamergaters. And they no longer are. They no longer represent Gamergate. They now just represent grift, hate mongering and rage baiting. And it is super funny to us because we can see how dishonest you are and how fake all of your arguments are and how you have absolutely no standards. If something like Call of Duty is like equally as bad to you as like Dustborn, you know. Your outrage levels are identical. Well, then you're not a real person then. You're just a talking head for a ideologically obsessed point of view. You're just as bad as the wokesters. That's the ultimate moral of that, you know. And yeah, dude, nuance is fucking important in my opinion, because without nuance you're becoming a robot. And whether you're a robot who's thinking that they're fighting on the side of the right or the side of the wrong, whatever, like, if you're not thinking for yourself, if you don't have actual original thoughts, because nothing somebody like Synthetic Man says, for example, is actual original thought. No, he just speaks out of ideology, right? He speaks out of, like, everything he says is just something you can predict pretty much 100% of the time. And it has nothing to do with his well-established character. It has everything to do with the fact that nothing he says is his actual opinion. Even if it is, well, it's just adopted opinion then. It's not a real one anyway. Like, no matter how you spin it. And yeah, man, oof. I don't remember what I was talking about before I started talking about grifters. Grifters is just such a waste of talent, honestly. Because, like, a lot of people who are grifters these days could have actually been, like, well, you know, somewhat people occupying the void left by, like, people like Total Biscuit, and maybe even Spoonie to a certain extent. You know, people who actually loved video games and understand what made a good video game, and were not afraid to talk about it. Instead, the only people willing to actually in-depth talk about video games are either pretentious, you know, assholes like Joseph Henderson or Matthew Mathosis or whatever the fuck. Matthew Mathosis, whatever. No one actually fucking knows what a video game is anymore. Everyone just knows what a shitty video game is, and apparently it's all of them. And it's just such a fucking dishonest way of, you know, just like talking about things. Like, yeah, sure, there are woke elements in Kingdom Come Deliverance too. You know what? It's a sandbox fucking RPG. If one of the options if you were to make a game that was like a simulator, like a simulated reality, it was a VR AI based thing where you could literally say anything to anyone. You could burn somebody's house down. You could, I don't know, just like give $1 million to a hobo and watch them become like a crime lord. You know, like basically like a tabletop but made real, right? Type of scenario. Would you not have, like, literally, you know, taking up the ass one of the things you could do in that game? I mean, obviously it by default would have been one of the things you could do in that game. And that's what a sandbox is, you know? And Henry being pre-written or whatever. Who the fuck gives a fuck about Henry? This is so funny. So I played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, actually, recently. Originally, I played it for about maybe 3 hours. Potentially could be even 4 or 5. But I definitely did quite a bit, like, open worlding in that game. So when I say like 3 hours into the game, I don't necessarily mean 3 hours into the story. But originally, I dropped the game somewhere after Hans. You go on the hunt with Hans. So that's a mission that follows a stupidly long and boring fucking, like, patrolling mission. Like city guard, whatever. Like, patrolling. So bad. That mission is so fucking boring, dude. Like, you need to be such a normie maxed person to call yourself a gamer and sit through that mission and say, oh wow, Kingdom Come Deliverance, so realistic, so immersive, so atmospheric. Dude, I wanted to kill somebody sitting through that mission the first time, and the second time I replayed, I was like legitimately, oh wow. It's kind of funny how I did not remember that game as never to be touched again after that mission. Like, yeah, absolutely, dude. If that was one of the first missions, if that mission happened during the first 2 hours of the game, and Kingdom Come Deliverance was one of, like, was a game that I bought, I got it for free on Epic. And originally I don't remember what I played it on. I think it was a console, because I do remember being like, this lockpicking is just unplayable with the controller. So I don't remember how I played it originally. But yeah, I got it for free on Epic. So yeah, but if I bought that game, like on Steam, and that mission happened in the first 2 hours, I absolutely would have refunded it like there. Right fucking there, dude. I would have done it even if I was in the middle of the stream. I'm like, I'm not playing a game that does stuff like that. I don't give a fuck if it's just the beginning of the game, if it's just to set up the atmosphere. No. At a few points in the game at least, you know, the game will keep doing it. Maybe not super often, but it will keep doing it. If it feels like it can do it once to establish atmosphere, to establish tone, it will do it again. And I'm sorry, I no longer play games like that. I no longer play a video game where I get to walk forward a little bit while two characters are talking about something, and then there's a button prompt appears that says, press X to stealth kill this enemy. And if you try to like run into that enemy, there's actually an invisible wall like preventing you from doing it. Like, I'm so done with games trying to do that. And I got so bored on my last attempt, like when I was playing it, during that mission, that I just started like punching chickens. And initially guards did not react at all, but after I punched like fourth or fifth chicken, one of the guards just completely aggroed on me. And I had to run away from that guard while the guard I was supposed to follow was still kind of like walking around, and I was supposed to be right next to him. Eventually I broke out of the guard that was aggroing me by initiating a dialogue with that dude who was kind of like my instructor. I don't know, dude. Like, super janky. Everything that has to do with the story completely takes player agency away from you. The open world part, yeah, I was pretty okay with it. So I played it for about 30 hours, and I would say about 28 of those were basically just the sandbox. As a sandbox, I think it's a pretty solid thing, honestly. I think it is a pretty goddamn fucking solid thing. It's a pretty alright, kind of like slightly more photorealistic Oblivion. I mean, quite literally, the game just obviously is inspired by Oblivion by so many elements of it, even UI. But overall, after I was done with a few side quests and I did all the thieving missions, of which the game has a whopping of 9, pretty much. The only other thing I could kind of like find to do was the main quest. And the main quest is so linear and so hand-holdy and such lacking in player agency. I just cannot play stuff like that. I'm sorry. But one thing I know for sure, and I did address that again. I did address that once already, but I will address it again. The grift position of Henry cannot be gay because he is a pre-written character, and he is very obviously not gay in the first game. Yeah, he is also not written as a thieving, murderous psychopath, yet he was in my game. The story of Kingdom Come Deliverance is very, very linear and very hand-holdy. And it goes completely against the open world sandbox nature of the rest of the game. So pretty much, just like in the Elder Scrolls games actually, everything that happens in the sandbox that is, pretty much everything that happens in the sandbox is non-canon. The story, Henry, and the Sandbox Henry are two different characters. You know, it honestly, there is no other way to explain it, right? Because how can the hero of Kvatch, or whatever the fuck that village was called, you know, the hero or the savior, whatever the noun is, of Cyrodiil, you know, or for that matter, the Dragonborn, how can those people also be basically in charge of the Thieves Guild and simultaneously in charge of the Dark Brotherhood, which is an objectively kind of like evil, you know, faction? Like, it's impossible, right? It doesn't make any sense. So you're supposed to just, you know, compartmentalize, whatever. You know, your character as doing the side quest and your character doing the open world not really being the same character. You know, you need to suspend your disbelief a little bit. So the fact that Henry is a pre-written character, he was pre-written as straight, you cannot make him gay. Yeah, he was also pre-written as a non-murderous, you know, psychopath. Homicidal, right? Fucking psychopath. There's a homicidal, homicidal, whatever. You get what I'm saying? You know, it's just something that you need to let go of. Yeah, I know there are many other kind of like wokish elements. Well, stop tugging, please. In the game, and I get that they're annoying, right? But why all the fucking outrage? None of you people even played the first game until the week before the second one came out. Some of you did, so that your grift is more justified, right? So that your position is more respectable. You're more informed, which is funny. I don't even know why some of the grifters even bothered. It's as if your position is ever like well informed, you know. But anyway, so yeah. Strangely enough, you're not in a position where you can tug. Yeah, played a bit more, but I couldn't force myself to sit through the story. It's just impossible. It's for somebody like me, for somebody who discovered video games, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and played a bunch of Skyrim, and were kind of like, hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind for a slightly deeper experience than this shallow piece of shit. Like, yeah, it would probably be rather like mind-blowing for you, but the way kind of like the main story was made, honestly, it's even more fucking hand-holdy and linear than like a BioWare game. I'm sorry, I'm too old for this. I played way too many video games and literally seen and heard and read and experienced all of that shit already. That's the main thing. People say, well, why do you hate like games so much? You know, video games were not necessarily all better back in the day. Yeah, absolutely, dude. There were plenty of shitty games back then. And some of them were legitimately kind of made shitty by the general kind of like practices of the time, and lack of technology, and lack of kind of like accumulated, video game design skill, I would say, right, or talent. Absolutely. So definitely older games were not necessarily all 100% better. I'm just saying that if you've been playing since a long time ago, you've fucking seen everything that the industry is shitting out right now. It's just all the same stuff every fucking time. Back in the day, a lot of games were broken, a lot of games were janky, a lot of games were whatever. But at least games were fucking different. But if you at least been playing since like the 7th generation of consoles, dude, something like Kingdom Come Deliverance with its, linear walking simulator like main quests, like, I don't know, dude. If you don't find it borderline infuriating, you just haven't played enough games then. So like, don't come to me, you know, bitching about how I'm old and like chiseled, grizzled, you know. Yeah, I am, but it's not because, you know, my video games were like better. They were, but it's not like, you know, all video games were just fantastical and great back in the day. No, there are plenty of shitty ones. It's just that everything that comes out today I've seen already, you know. And if you go back to the 7th generation and just start playing random games, you even just the 7th generation, not to mention the 6th and the 5th, you know, like to stay in kind of like a general field of contemporary, you know, gaming. 5th generation, obviously, a lot of games are not super contemporary, but MGS1 kind of is, pretty much. You know, if you can play MGS2, you can play 1. So, how should I put it? It's yeah, you know, you've seen it all. Like, if you go back to just like a few generations back and just start playing random games, you will get such a rainbow, you know, no gay pun intended. You will get such a rainbow of different experiences, even in the games of the same genre, that it legitimately feels like a breath of fresh air. You know, you play games of the same genre or even different genres these days, and dude, it's all the same shit. And when we get into handholdy walking simulator, walk and talk segments of something like Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, I'm sorry, dude. The story may be brilliant. The Henry may be like a brilliant character that was kept completely assassinated in the second game. I don't give a fuck. First game was a giant sandbox game where everything you did outside of the main quest not being non-canon, very obviously, right? So what's the point caring that much about Henry as a character? Like, you say, oh, Henry is pre-written as non-gay. Well, Henry is also pre-written as a non-maniac, and he was in my playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. So what of it? That he was pre-written as a non-gay. Who cares? That's not even the point of the game, right? The main quest is not even the point of the game. For me personally, like, it's fucking laughable how kind of like how disposable the main quest in that game is. Anyway, well, that's it. Played a little bit more of Kingdom Come Deliverance, and yeah, I was once you get through the so the whole thing with the game being like super immersive and whatnot, that whole thing is a grift, or rather a it's a shill, essentially. It's a shilling, you know, that the game is super immersive, super hardcore. It's really not. There are some immersive elements, there are some relatively hardcore elements because your character starts as like bad at everything, but all of those elements are majorly front-loaded. After you play the game for a few hours, it gets so much easier. It basically just becomes, yeah, like slightly more immersive, slightly more kind of like hardcore Oblivion. And I was able to enjoy it this time much more, but still I couldn't power through the main story. Will I play the second game ever? Well, some people say that it looks better while actually runs better, but I don't know if my hardware will agree with that. It may, but it probably won't, so I'm not even gonna gamble. But yeah, I would play it, because a lot of people say that, like, mechanically and in terms of the sandbox, the game is like a giant improvement on the first one. And the first one could definitely use some improvement. Like, it honestly wasn't even all that deep and immersive. It really wasn't. That was all just shilling. Legit. Anyway, fun times. Fun times definitely with the second game. I deeply enjoyed all the grifters just like running circles, you know, around themselves, spinning themselves, you know, spinning in circles, trying to come up with reasons to hate the fuck out of the game that wasn't even remotely as offensive as some of the most like aggressive examples of the things they pretend they care to fight in society. Yeah, fun times these. Okay. Well, obviously this is it. I could talk about more gaming stuff since that's probably like my thing. Not sure if I'll do it tomorrow or not. I am pretty... I'm on a pretty tough and tight scheduling wise grind these days. But, well, technically I do have time, right, to make these streams. It's just that sometimes I'm so done, you know, by the time we do them. The thing, ooh, doggies. I'm so done sometimes by the time we do them, we do the walk. I just feel like listening to a podcast or a video or something. Okay.